Hi there guys and welcome to another EDH Geeks video. And in this video, if you did not know by clicking the title or seeing the description image, today I'm talking about the 5-ish things. And if you've seen my other video that I've put out about 5 things, you know I can stretch that 5 things, which is why I put the ish in there. But 5-ish things that are the best things about Commander, or the 5 things that make Commander the best format. Um, so yeah, 5 things. First thing off the bat is just the level of accessibility of Commander. Commander is extremely accessible for the most part, I think. You can very easily go down, get yourself a $50 commander deck or a $25 commander deck, because there's these new commander decks that are $25, I believe, now. Basically half the price of the regular ones, and they're a little bit more uh, simple, I would say, in terms of the cards, um, for new cards especially. But they certainly have some great reprints, and certainly definitely worth it. So two of them is basically the $50 that we're used to paying up for a lot of these decks. And most, like, I've recently released a video saying, most of the, or somewhere in there saying, mostly if you were going to build a commander deck, the, the most basic of basics probably would be about $50 for just a generic deck. So yeah, accessibility is pretty easy in this format. I think it's very easy to get your foot in the door. There's all sorts of tutorial videos and tip videos, and even I've done a couple tip videos. I think I might try to do tutorial video if people are interested in that sort of thing. Next up is, well, creativity, I would say, is the next thing. You can be so creative in Commander, unlike other formats. I think you can get away with a lot more in Commander, like not in CEDH, I would say, but I think Commander and CEDH, in some regards, are different formats to a degree. They're very incompatible with one another. But the thing is, in regular Commander, you can get away with just so many things. You can just play like the most vanilla um, style of deck and still have fun and still have a chance to win in some regards. And even some of the more budget decks can still be very strong depending on how synergistic they are and things like that. So there's certainly not always that pay to win aspect, and I guess that sort of falls into accessibility to a degree, in saying, it's very accessible, so it's not always that pay to win sort of thing which you do find with other things, like the person who spends the most money always wins, that type thing. But it's not always that way. But it is, you also can lower your expectations of what it is for a win for you. Did your deck do what you wanted it to do? Was it functioning well? Did somebody really have to focus their resources on you to take you out more or less and then win, because you were actually presenting a threat to them in that regard? So you could take that as a win as well, saying, hey, you know what, I made that person sweat a little bit. That could be a bit of a win if your deck does a very flavorful thing that your deck's trying to do. Like, again, another creative thing that I've seen some people do is theme decks, where the theme of it is some other reference to some TV show or game or a song, or different versions of different songs and things like this. I've seen anime decks, I've seen One Piece decks, I've seen Star Trek, Star Wars, all kinds of different things that people who are very creative have tried to do, like Chair Tribal, which is just like one of the most janky ideas out there ever. But, like, it's one of those funny things. You can just get away with, like, doing this weird, wacky sort of stuff, and you can play your generic cat tribal, or you can play just some of the more draft chaff sort of stuff that you happen to get in your boosters, or at the end of your F&M, or at the end of a draft, or the day after the draft, or what have you, and just like throw random commons and uncommons, that are 10, 15, or under 25 cents at least, worth of value cards just into a deck. And the same with like jank rares, things like that. You can find these 25-cent rares or whatever, or under dollar rares, and even throw them into a deck, and it still can be a good deck as long as it's doing what your deck roughly wants to be doing. And even then, if your deck's just doing this thing where it's trying to be on a theme, I don't know what your specific theme is, but you can come up with any theme that you want, and you can try to put it together and make it work, and just have fun with it in that way. So I think like the creativity is a strong second thing that's one of the reasons that Commander's the best format. Thirdly, I think like the non-competitive nature, and again, I sort of talked about CEDH. CEDH is the competitive side of Commander, which is why it's called CEDH. C stands for competitive. So the non-competitiveness of it, to an extent, because some people like competitive, and I don't really understand that, but I sort of go, okay, well, whatever, like you do you, buddy, whatever. So some people like that competitive aspect to it, but I think it's just that non-competitiveness that is a great part of it, because you can get 10, 11, 12-year-old kids or whatever playing this game, and you can get people who are 70, 80, 90 years old playing this game. You can get a full gambit of people from any age group and from any background basically playing this game and just having fun and enjoying it. There's no barriers in terms of like how competitive you have to be, or you can just casually sit down at a table when you can face basically anyone and everyone, and you're all going to sit out and try to have fun and try and do what your deck's doing, and somebody else is going to try to stop you from doing it, and you're going to try and stop them from doing what they're trying to do to win, and things like this. So that's one of the big things I think is just like fun about the game, is like you've got no limits on who you're going to play against, to a degree, as long as you're open-minded, I guess. Because if you say, oh, I don't like people of this demographic or of this ethnicity or whatever else, I don't know, but that's up to you, like, or if you do see a pod or a table where the power level seems like it might be a bit too high for you, you go, well, you guys are playing really what looks like really busted powerful things. I'm just gonna try to find something else somewhere else. Or if you guys have got something a little less scary, I think I might be able to bring it in. So yeah, like I said, accessibility, creativity, and sort of non-competitiveness of the format are the first three. So four, I would say is, or well, I guess that's sort of casualness, or non-competitiveness is casualness, I guess, as well. But sort of just the open-ended nature of it. Even like this kind of falls into creativity, but it's something that is a little bit different. Just the open-endedness of it, because there are some decks that are just like, this is dog tribal, right? That's what it is. This is cat tribal. That's what it is. But some decks are very open-ended and lend themselves to lots of different things. So you can go, oh, well, I didn't like this version of this deck. That's fine. You can say, hey, I still like this commander. I think this commander's cool. Or these colors, the colors I'm in are cool. I really like X, Y, or Z color. I really like what this does. So I want to focus more on doing this rather than what I was doing before. So with some commanders, you can go, oh, I'll just switch my strategy. So that's another sort of thing. I mean, like the strategy of it, I guess, is adaptive. You can change your strategy for what you want to do with the commander to a degree. If you want to play dog, like the dog tribal deck, but you want to play a version of the deck that's, I don't know, got an equipment sub theme or something, or you want to play a morph sub theme to your deck. I don't know how you do that with that specific deck, but you want to play like a morph sub theme, or you want to play a +1/+1 counter strategy sub theme, or you want to do this, or what have you. Then that's just another different strategy of your deck that you can like lend yourself to, or the deck can lend itself to because of certain things that your commander does, or certain other cards that work with what your commander's doing, or just the choices that you make in deck building. So fifth thing, final-ish thing, I guess, is the evolvingness or the chance of change, which is sort of what I was sort of talking about there, but it's also a little bit different, which is that there's always new cards added to the format, and there's not that many cards, and this will be another point that I'll sort of make for an ish, is that there's not very many bans in this format. A lot of the stuff that's going to be banned has already been banned. There's not much that's going to be banned at this point. If there's something in the future that comes along, it'll probably be banned fairly quickly upon release. So you never have that worry of going, oh, what if I spend my money, build my deck, and then they ban it from under me? It's not likely going to happen nowadays. I think they look at cards a little bit more critically nowadays as well, to say, is this going to be fun for players? But just that whole concept of the format will change every few months, because there'll be new standard legal sets. So therefore there'll be new commanders, there'll be new cards printed in those sets. Some of them may find their way into Commander, and then there's all the supplemental products as well, some of which #secret lair some people aren't specifically fond of, but like other people, like for the most part, it's just like the reprints of those are fine for people. I think the main problem with that is the people who see it as this is the exclusive product type thing, and I understand, but we're not going to get into that in this video. But anyway, like that sort of thing can be problematic for the community to a degree, but we can work through it and we can find things, and it's all about allowing people, I guess, to have fun in what they want to do. And that's again where I say, like, the creativity comes back into it. If you want to do the Walking Dead series as your commander deck, why not? Let people do it. I don't see the problem. I just see the problem in the way that it's done, and the bottleneck, I guess, aspect to it. So that's the problem I see in that it causes, and that whole sort of marketry sort of side of things, where it's sort of a bit, holding you at gunpoint to a degree to make you buy something from them, and you never know if you're going to be really able to get. Because I've heard that people have bought Secret Lairs several months back and are still looking for to get them delivered, but it has been an issue with COVID and all that sort of stuff. But we won't get into too much of that anymore. We'll move on. But anyway, the whole thing that is, like, again, this is a very stable format, and that's kind of an ish thing as well. It's very stable, but in saying that, where despite new things coming in and it evolving every now and again and things changing and people building new decks, I still think that the Commander idea and what the Commander is doing for the most part is the same thing. People are still going to build their decks. People are still going to sit down to tables, play games, have fun, and enjoy themselves. So that's, the main point of Commander, and I think that's why most people, I would suggest, play Commander, because it's much easier to play than playing the other formats, and you've got so many of these worries in those other formats. Like, what if something is banned? Or what if the deck that I've created isn't good? Like, I've just spent my time creating this deck that has this theme to it, or I've just found a bunch of draft chaff or whatever, and that's all I've got. I just want to play. I've only got, a few minutes to... And that's another thing that I'll probably tick in here as an ish sort of thing as well. Time. Because at any time you can basically go into your local game store or go somewhere and say, hey, look, I'm looking for a Commander game. I want a game right now, and get a game. Or you can go online and get a game. You can get a game on the EDH, Play EDH Discord. You can get games all over the world very easily. You can say, hey, I've got my Commander deck. Does anyone want to play? You can get games like that. That's how easy it is to get games. But for most other formats, it's all related around tournaments and, things like that. It's never that many people that I ever see come in and play, during the day, their standard or their modern or their pioneer decks or whatever. I never see that, basically. I see people coming in and playing their Commander decks, So that's where I just think you're just going to get more games in if you want to play Commander, because most people are going to have a Commander deck, and if they're not, then you can easily find a few people that will. For the most part, you're going to be able to find games. It's not like Standard or whatever, where you've got to wait for the tournament to start at 6:30 or 7:30 or whatever it is. Or at 6 o'clock or whatever, or you've got to wait for it once a week or once a fortnight or once a month or whatever it is. You can get your game whenever you want for the most part, even in this time of coronavirus. I know that you can sort of do that a little bit with some standard and modern and things like that. You can sort of organize it if you want to. But I just think this is a lot easier. And then, like, Arena makes it so much easier just to play against bots or just to play against people digitally. And I think that's what I don't like about, that sort of side of it. It lends itself to playing digitally, and you sort of lose that human contact. And that's where I think most of the appeal of EDH is, because you're going to be playing against other real people and in real time. And you're going to be able to, sort of suss out what people are doing, because some people are, like, in poker, same thing. Some people have terrible tells that you can tell that they're lying, or that, you can tell, oh, this person's really got nothing, haven't they? They've got absolutely squat all. You can just tell they've got squat all, because they're sitting back going, yep, cool, great, cool story, bro. Needs more dragons, though. A bit bored, a bit like, I'm over all this, like, whatever. I've hurry up and win. Come on, what are you doing? Type attitude to a degree. But, you know, that can happen when somebody's just got, like, nothing and the other person's, like, trying to win and it's just, like, can't quite get there. And it's just, like, every single thing is, like, have you won? You know, type thing sometimes. But, you know, because the other person's been massacred and the other person's just, like, going off or whatever. But, you know, like, it is just like that sometimes. It be like that sometimes, as we say. But, you know, those are my 5 things, or 5-ish things, that I think make Commander the best format in Magic, and the format that I would suggest for most people to play. So, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Please do all the YouTube things, help me out. And also, don't forget, I've got a Patreon. I've got a link somewhere in the description, or maybe in a little pop-up here somewhere. I'll hopefully put in, and you'll be able to help me out there. And as patrons also get added benefits for being patrons, like getting shout-outs and things like that. So, thanks so much for watching, and if you've enjoyed, hope to see you again.